going on YouTube? Chlorophyll here, back with another Series 11 team building video, and we're doing Groudon next. We've already done Kyogre, we did Zacian, and I feel like the next strongest thing right behind those two is Groudon. So remember, in Series 10, Sun teams took a big hit because Venusaur and or Charizard could no longer Dynamax. So what really made Sun strong was not necessarily Groudon, but it was Groudon empowering Venusaur and Charizard, because both of those benefited a lot in the Sun, especially when Dynamax. Obviously, with Venusaur getting with G-Max Vinelash, so let's just go ahead and put that here. And then, of course, Charizard with, its own G-Max move of Wildfire. Both of these were like the kings of Suns. They made Sun so oppressive. Sometimes you didn't even run Zard, but Charizard is really good against Zacian teams, whereas Venusaur is good against Kyogre teams, and Groudon just enables these two to do very well. And without Dynamax, both of these suffered very terribly. And thankfully, now that it's back, both of them can do well again. And now, of course, Groudon can Dynamax too. So instead of always worrying about missing Precipice Blades, you can just Dynamax this thing and go for big max quakes, and now Groudon is pretty good. And you already know its stats in terms of how physically strong it is, like base 150 with a base 140 defense and 100 HP. It's very bulky. So again, so that's why like Groudon can always be run in terms of speed, a little bit midding speed, and then with a lot of bulk. So this way you can do well outside of Trick Room and also with like Max Airstream boost. Alright, but let's just finish off the rest of the team here. So where there's a Venusaur, there's probably a Porygon 2 behind it. And Porygon 2 is going to be rising in usage yet again in Series 11 because of Dynamax format. So stay tuned for more duck shenanigans. But yeah, we are going to go download here. And then from here, I feel like Incineroar can come on the team now. Now you might say there's two fire types, but it's better than Torkoal in this sense, because with Incin and Torkoal, that doesn't feel good. But now Incin and Zard, that's a little better, and you have Groudon too. So Groudon, Zard, Incin is okay. It's tolerable, and you need Intimidate and you need Fake Out. And the Fake Outs will also help out Porygon to get its Trick Room up, and then you can Parting Shot next turn into like something else. But yeah, Incin's coming here. In the last slot, you could go Grimmsnarl. I feel like this is probably the better option with the screens and Spirit Breaks, and I believe this is the same 6 as Rogov and Collins's Sun squad with like I think it was White Herb, Groudon, and AV Zard. And then the crazy weakness policy Venusaur, but we're gonna go a different route this time. We're gonna go with the Thundurus here, and we're gonna go Assault Vest here. So I really like Thundurus because now with Thundurus on the team, you can discourage opposing Incineroars and opposing Landorus's Intimidate shenanigans, and then at the same time with your Assault Vest, you're very strong against Kyogre and Calyrex Shadow teams. So I do like this archetype. Thundidon is what it's called. So you got Thundurus, you got Groudon, you have the Sun mode with Venusaur, Groudon, or Groudon, Charizard. You've got Porygon 2 for extra speed control, and then Incineroar just because Incineroar is Incineroar. I mean, there's nothing really that needs to be said about it. So this is our 6. So now let's take a look at how we're going to do the EVs, items, and the movesets. Alright, so let's take a look at Groudon first. So I feel like with Groudon, you can go quite a few items here. You can go Life Orb Groudon is pretty good. You can go White Herb Groudon. I like White Herb Groudon the most. You can also go Lumberry Groudon just because of the movesets it can have with Swords Dance. Or you can even go Citrus Berry Groudon just to get that extra recovery. And the benefit with Citrus Berry is against Kyogre teams, when you switch in Groudon to take that Water Spout, you'll either dip below half, so that way you'll get your HP back. So this way you can take another Water Spout. So that's always the benefit of running Citrus Berry Groudon. But for us, we're gonna go with the Lumberry, just you know, for the mirror matchup in case Venusaur wants to sleep you, or you know, people want to try and burn the Groudon with Will-O-Wisp. So I really like Lumberry here. And standard moveset here, nothing crazy. Precipice Blades, Rock Slide, which becomes Max Rockfall. Good against opposing Sun teams, especially if they have a Charizard and an Incineroar. And then from here, Swords Dance, okay, and Protect. Okay, this is our standard Groudon moveset. And in terms of how we're gonna EV it, so I do like Adamant Groudon, and this allows us to go for a little bit less attack, but more bulk and a little bit more speed. I like our Groudon to have a little bit of speed in this case. But yeah, we're gonna go to the second bump here. So this is the first bump with the attack stat, because it went from 196 over here. It'll go up to 198 now. And let's go to 156 over here. And then from our speed stat, I can tell you that most Groudons will try and go for 76 investment to go to 120. This will let it outspeed Thundurus after an Airstream boost, which is why some Groudons went up to like 123 to outspeed that and outspeed those speed creepers. But I like 126, and I'll tell you why I like this 126 will let you outspeed Cinderace, all right? Because you don't want to take a G-Max Fireball in the face in the sun, all right? Because G-Max Cinderace is back, and I am always going to try and respect it, because those Calyrex Shadow teams are going to start trying to run it again, and I just don't want to deal with the bunny. But if you think this is too much speed on your Groudon, you can just either go like 120, or you can even go 123. I feel like this is totally fine. But for us, we're gonna go 126. Okay, and then we're just gonna dab a little bit in our bulk, and that's our Groudon spread. Very simple, very standard. Okay, so from here, our Thundurus. So our Thundurus, we have a couple calcs in mind, but at the very least, I'll show some EV spreads. We are still gonna go Max Jolly, just because we at least want to have a speed tie with the opposing Thunduruses. And then from here, we're gonna go 148 attack investment, which will allow us to go 92 in the HP investment department, getting us to 166 HP. And then from here, a little bit of defense and a little bit of special defense. And I'll explain what this does, but just from saying it before I show the damage calcs, this spread will let us live Kyogre Water Spouts with Regieleki Electrowebs. We can live Rock Falls from Life Orb, Jolly Groudons. We can live Rock Falls from Landoruses. We can even live Zacians, Behemoth Blades, make them 2-hit KOs actually, which is what we're trying to do. So a lot of things are going into this calc, and I'll show them all officially on the Pokemon Damage Calculator. But first I want to EV the rest of the team. Alright, so Venusaur, we're going to go Chlorophyll here. So Venusaur, we are going to go with our Leaf Storm, which becomes G-MaxVineLash. You can go the other grass move. What is that thing called? I can't remember off the top of my head. Not Solar Beam. Where is it? Not Petal Dance. That was alright. I can't find it at the moment. Doesn't matter. Leaf Storm's the better grass move. Alright, from here we're gonna go Earth Power. Okay, and this is Series 11, aka Series 8. We're gonna go with Weather Ball. Okay, and then finally the pleb move of Sleep Powder. I hate Sleep Powder. I try not to use this thing, but you know, it does. But you're gonna be using it, right? Not me. So you're gonna be the one putting things to sleep. And then here we're gonna go with the Life Orb item, just to get this giant plant dinosaur dealing extra damage. And in terms of our EVs, we're gonna go modest here. So we're gonna go Violent Venusaur. Okay, we're dealing damage here, and we'll just go to the third bump here, which is 236 investment. Okay, so we're gonna go. You see how it jumped from 163, and now if I invest one more set of EVs, it's gonna go to 165. All right, because that's our third EV bump here. And then for Life Orb Chip, we're gonna cheat the system and not go to 159. We'll go a little bit more to 169. And remember, Life Orb takes 1/10 of your HP per turn. So if you put it at 169, 169 divided by 10 is 16.9. And in Pokemon, it rounds down. 16.9 rounds down to 16, so you're taking only 16 points of Life Orb chip per turn, because if I break the threshold and then I go to 170 HP, now I'm taking 17 points of Life Orb chip per turn, and we don't want that. So we're going to go to 169, but that's just a general rule of thumb. You always want to have your HP end in a 9, so this way when you have a Life Orb item, you optimize your HP value that way. Alright, and then from here, we'll just go 4 in the defense and 12 in the SPDF, just so that we can get an even number. So this way, when we Dynamax this and we go for a Max Quake, we can get a even numbered boost, even numbered whole number integer boost, and then the rest will be dumped into speed. Actually, what I'm going to do is one more thing. Okay, I'm going to forego the SPDF rule, and I'm actually just going to go 1 point into the speed. So this way we go to 120. So at the very least, when there's no sun, if we have an Airstream boost from Thundurus or Charizard, we can outspeed Thundurus, opposing Thundurus. Okay, so we'll at least keep it to 120, you know, because we don't want to be too slow. All right, now we go to Zard, and for Charizard, we don't have the Life Orb item, but that's okay. We can still opt for a little bit more survivability, and I'm gonna go Wacan Berry here, because we need to live one electric attack, right? Because Regieleki can Dynamax again, and that thing is a demon, and we can't just get our Charizard one-shot by that thing. So if we can live that one electric hit with the Wacan Berry and get an Airstream boost or even a GMaxWildFire off before we die, that's all that matters. So very standard spread here. We're gonna just go Timid, 252 investment and 252 investment in the special attack, 4 defense, and a very basic Charizard set, and we'll live that Max Lightning. As far as moveset, Heat Wave, because double damage into opposing mons. Scorching Sands for the Max Quake boost, always much appreciated for the rest of the team. And finally, of course, we need Max Airstream. Air Slash is our last move, and then finally Protect. Okay. All right, now the Duck is back. Okay, so the Duck is obviously going to go with the Violet item here. What we're going to do with the Duck is we're going to go modest a little bit, but still have some bulk. So we'll go a little bit in the special attack. We'll go first bump. So we'll go from 141 to 143. So this is our first bump, and that's really all we need. And then we'll go, I could go 84. So this way, after 2 Airstream boosts, you outspeed the base 100s, but we'll go 1 more just to outspeed those speed creepers. We'll max out our HP, and we'll have some defense. I believe we'll go up to this much, 124, and then 60 in the SPDF. Actually, I'm gonna change that one real quick. I'm gonna take 1 off here and go 68 special defense. I'll tell you why, because we have the Eviolite boost, so we want an even number in the defense and special defense. So this way, the 1.5 multiplier gives us a perfect integer, right? Not a decimal, because if we get a decimal number, then it's going to round it down, and we don't want that. We want the best bang for our buck with the Violet. So from here, our moveset, probably should have did the moveset first, but it's okay. Try attack. These Sun teams the opposing Sun teams that you're gonna run into are gonna have like Landorus on there. So we want to one-shot that thing with an Ice Beam. So this Porygon can do that. And then from here, of course, Recover and Trick Room. Okay. Now, one thing, I don't have the perfect even number in my HP stat, so when I click Recover, it'll round it down 1 a little bit, but that's okay, because at the very least, I optimize for Weather Chip outside of Sun, so it's not too bad. But if it really means that much to you, here, you can put it back to 84. And put your HP back, and now you're fine. All right, if it means that much to you. So I'll leave it like that. The Incin spread is the last one. So Incin, again, of course, against other Sun teams, you're gonna need Incin. So Safety Goggles is really, really nice, especially against Sleep Powder stuff. Flare Blitz, that's False Surrender. It's not Flare Blitz. Flare Blitz is good. Fake Out, also good. Parting Shot. And from here, you can go a few things. You can go Darkest Lariat, you can go Snarl, all right, or you can go Taunt, right? For me, I'm going to go with, I think Snarl is pretty good. Snarl is fine. Thundurus, I just realized we didn't do our Thundurus moveset. We're gonna go Fly. Actually not Fly, we'll do Wild Charge first. Wild Charge, then Fly. And then normally there would be Superpower here, but I'm gonna change it up a little bit. I'm gonna go Brick Break, just because Grimmsnarl is really strong in the format. Especially like some of the teams that I use are gonna have Grimmsnarl. So my tech is gonna be Brick Break, so this way you can break those screens. And then finally the last one, we're gonna go Crunch here. I feel like this is 50-50 between Crunch and Foul Play. Foul Play is good against things that activate their weakness policy and go +2, and this way Foul Play will just one-shot those things. But outside of that, a Crunch is just a better move, and it's really good against Calyrex Shadow. And then for Incin, again, you can go Snarl, you can go Taunt. It's really up to you. It's a tough call. I think I'm leaning towards Taunt at the moment, so we'll go with that. All right, but if you like Snarl, go for Snarl. Now for our Incin spread, we're gonna go with our standard Dynamax Incineroar set at the moment, and that is to outspeed Turbo Shrooms with 91 speed. We'll go first bump in the Careful category with 76 investment, and then 244 HP, 4 attack, and 100 defense. And this instant spread, I'll mention it in the calcs also. It'll let you live a close combat Zacian after -1. All right. So yeah, this is the squad. We'll show the Pokepaste at the end, but let's take a look at some damage calcs, and then we'll go into a few sample battles. All right, so let's take a look at that Thundurus spread first. So here we'll match it up against a Jolly Life Orb 252 Groudon. And let's see how it takes the max Rockfall here. So if we Dynamax our Thundurus and they Dynamax their Groudon, we have a very likely chance to live that Rockfall. I think it's only a 6.3% chance to Oko. So that's really nice. That the fact that you can live a Jolly Life Orb Groudon. Let's look at Lando next. So let's look at Lando with the Life Orb as well. So let's go blank set, level 50, 252 Jolly. I feel like these speed natured mons are gonna come back. And again, let's go with Rock Slide here. And we're gonna have the Life Orb. So Dynamax, yeah, see look, Dynamax Landorus again with the Life Orb is just not gonna KO this Thundurus. So really good, the fact that I know I can live this. So a really nice calc there. Now what about Regieleki and Kyogre? So let's say we have a level 50 Regieleki that decides to, alright, so max 252, let's say modest Regieleki, and it has a Life Orb item. Okay, and it'll go for Electro Web, right? Because Electro Web plus Max Geyser could it would be the ideal play against a Thundurus, right? So modest Life Orb Eleki Electro Web will do max 18%, right? So now let's look at Kyogre. So let's look at Kyogre in terms of a blank set. So we'll go modest in the rain, 252. All right, modest in the rain, 252. And our item is going to be Mystic Water. Okay, where are you? Mystic Water. Yep, there you are. And let's go Water Spout move. So the Water Spout. Okay, and then we'll Dynamax this now. So we max this, so 78. So imagine two cappers, right? 78 plus 18, right? So that's 96%. So we live the Electro Web and the Max Geyser from a Kyogre, and then we can just potentially smash it right back with our own Max Lightning or Max Airstream play. So really good, the fact that I can live all these combinations of hits. So yeah, I really like this Landorus spread. I'm sorry, Thundurus spread. Did we do Calyrex? Let's take a look at Calyrex. Calyrex Shadow. Let's look at the blank set here. Oh wait, let me just do the custom one because it's easier. All right, so let's go here, 252. Okay, 252. So Life Orb, Dynamax again. Even without max, I know I live the Psyshock. Not like it'll cap off at 99.3. So that's really cool. to know. And then the Astral Barrage obviously isn't going to kill me. If it Dynamaxes, I still have a chance to live that Phantasm, believe it or not. 25% chance to OHKO, so that's pretty cool. Even without my max is the impressive thing. So, and then Crunch is just going to do so much damage. And of course, if I Dynamax, then I could potentially KO it with a Max Darkness. So that'll do a lot, especially after Life Orb chip. I expect it to kill. So yeah, really cool Thundurus spread. So definitely keep this one in the bank, because I showed you a lot of different calcs with it. But now let's take a look at some of the other ones. So let's take a look at Groudon next. Alright, so now let's take a look at the Groudon. The main thing that we want to look at with the Groudon is the Rillaboom. So Rillaboom with the Miracle Seed, 252 Adamant Wood Hammer, assuming Groudon is not max, would just KO it, right? Obviously with max we live, as I'm showing here on the screen, but can we do something where we can live it? Yeah, remember we have Incineroar on the team, and I have calced that if we switch in our Incineroar and get that Rillaboom to -1, we actually live that Wood Hammer from Rillaboom. So that's one calc to know. The other one is for Zacian, especially if they're the Adamant one. So let's say for Zacian, he goes for Behemoth Blade. We can make this a 2-hit KO after an Intimidate. So if he second bump Zacian, where he's 156 Adamant, if we drop him to -1, we can make this Behemoth Blade, even at top cap, for a 3-hit KO. So that's what I really like about Dynamaxing Groudon. You can live strong Zacian attacks as long as you can get that Intimidate off. So both of those are really handy to have. Okay, so now let's take a look at Porygon 2. Speaking of Zacian, right? So let's look at Porygon 2, our set. So our set, we can live the close combat. We have a good chance to live the Adamant 156 Zacian close combat with this modest defensive bulk spread. And of course, if it was -1, we definitely live it. But even if it wasn't Intimidated, we have a good chance to live it. And if it was the Adamant 76 bump one, then we definitely live it without any Intimidate. So really cool spread to have, at least for this modest Porygon 2 spread, because, you know, Zacian's always a threat. Sacred Sword, again, the same idea. So knowing that I can put my P2 out there in front of a Zacian and live that close combat most of the time, pretty much almost guaranteed to live it most of the time, is always nice, because then I can just try and go for a Trick Room play. Alright, so those are a few of our damage calcs. There's one left that I want you also to see, is our Venusaur spread. So with our Venusaur set, alright, Behemoth Blade looks like it just absolutely demolishes our G-Max Venusaur. But again, if we get off that Intimidate, alright, we can actually live it. And if this was the second bump Venusaur, we also live it. So as long as we can get in our Incineroar and drop this Zacian to -1, our G-Max Venusaur at full health, assuming, would take it comfortably, even after Life Orb chip, right? Because remember, I'm also accounting for Life Orb damage, so you know that's always good to have in hand. So yeah, those are a few of the basic calcs that you should know, especially the Thundurus one. Those are pretty important, because Thundurus on a Groudon Venusaur team is really crucial. So having those calcs on hand helps a lot. All right, so now let's take a look at some of the sample battles and let's see how the team plays. All right, so let's take a look at this first match here. This is Dialga. So he's got Incin, Screens, and a Lando here, and there's a Dusclops. So I'm gonna say this is like Weakness Policy, Trick Room Bulldoze. Cool team. I guess the Cradily is for the Kyogre matchup, but I mean, I don't know how he brings the Lando or Incin here, because if I just lead Thundurus, the game's over, right? Because then I can just go for like Max Knuckles, Max Airstreams, Max Lightning. So I don't know if he leads any of those two. So I think I can just go with our Groudon here. Okay, so he actually does lead it. So I'm surprised. But yeah, I mean, can I just say, if I just let Thundurus, he loses the game? But he actually brought both. Now, I did bring Venusaur here, so I'm in a little bit of trouble, assuming if that is a Life Orb Lando, especially if he Dynamaxes that and goes for Airstream. So I'm just going to switch out the Venu and go for Charizard. And I'm just going to try and Ice Beam this Lando, assuming that's his play. The Incin, he could fake out my beat too, but again, that's still okay. So I'm just going to get my Venu out of here. And having this special attack boost really helps a lot. So let's go. Let's get in Charizard here. He actually U-turns, so I'm very surprised as to why he did that. There's the Grimmsnarl, and he switches out from the Ice Beam play. So he didn't go for Fake Out, so that tells me he went for an attacking move, and it was for Flare Blitz, and he crits me. So very interestingly there. So it gets up the light screen. I'm not going to max the Zard yet because I anticipated the light screen. I'm just trying to get a little bit of chip, and I get the freeze hex on the Grimmsnarl, and the instant kills my Zard, but that's okay. Now I can get in Groudon because now he can't really. He could get his Intimidate back out here. So I do anticipate the Lando coming in here. And if he doesn't, then I'm just going for, you know, P-Blades and then just KOing both of these mons. But if he gets in Lando in the instant slot, I'm just going to read that and try and Ice Beam there. So this way I'm covering for both options. And he actually does go for the Lando play. So then now he just loses Grimmsnarl and the Lando because I went for Ice Beam. So really nice play here just to get the Lando out of here. And I know my Groudon's Intimidate, but that's okay. And now here comes Dialga, and here comes Incin. So another Intimidate onto Groudon. He maxes the Dialga, but still okay. I'm just trying to stall out. He actually goes for the P2 instead. So I didn't quite get the read right with the Groudon Protect because I think he just went straight for the P2. Yeah, he did. So dang. All right. Well, I mean, that's fine, I guess. But we still have plenty of options in the back, like our Venusaur here. So we can max our Venusaur. And it was at this point that I realized I did not put Gigantamax on our Venusaur, which is why when I was doing the video, I remembered, all right, we got to do G-Max Venusaur because it didn't really look like that was G-Max. But yeah, I mean, it's fine because we're going for Max Quakes anyway instead of Vinelashes. So we're just building up our special defenses against this. And he's +2, but again, we have a Spadef boost. So I feel like we were fine against a Dynamax Weakness Policy proc Dialga. And he just loses the game from here. I mean, I know we missed the P-Blades, but his Roar of Time doesn't kill our Groudon because we're very, very bulky. And that's all she wrote. So yeah, very interesting match against Dialga, but hey, we pulled it out. Alright, so let's take a look at another one. Oh yeah, I remember this one. So this is Solgaleo. This one, we made a bad play, but we made it work out. And I'll show you what that was. And I have to try and not do this because I remember that this is a weakness policy Dynamax format. But yeah, so he actually goes Grimmsnarl Solgaleo first. I decided to go with Groudon and Venusaur. Just get the speed control right away. And I was doing that because I was trying to anticipate the Entei or the Zapdos lead, but he brought Grimmsnarl Solgaleo. So he could do the Clover play and Sucker Punch his Solgaleo and activate the policy and then just smash from here. But if I just attack with both, then he loses both. He loses potentially both because I can Max Quake and P-Blades. But yeah. So I maxed my Venusaur. I did remember to change it to Gigantamax. He maxes the Solg. He scary faces my Groudon. And there's the Max Quake. And this is when I realized, yeah, I shouldn't have done that because now he just activates his policy. And he's faster than my Groudon. And he actually has Mindstorm. So there goes my Max. And there goes my P-Blades critting both of these mons. So I was very, very lucky here because I should not have crit him twice. But it ended up happening. That's Pokemon. So now I bring in Zard. And Zard has the speed control on both of these. So now we just go Heat Wave and everything dies. Even a Wicked Blow doesn't kill Charizard. So goodbye Urshifu. And now he just has one mon left. It's the Tapu Fini. Okay, and we have a P2, so yeah, we can just win this end game because now we just attack once and Groudon hits hard, and the Tapu Fini doesn't have any recovery really to help it get back into the game. I mean, leftovers is not enough. He could protect here, but again, I could just click Trick Room next turn, and then yeah, the game is over. But yeah, he understands. But yeah, I have to remember that, you know, this is a Dynamax weakness policy format. I can't just proc the policy on Solgaleo like that. You know, it's like Metagross. You have to play the all my friends are dead game and go for the partners and not proc the policy. And then you have a much easier time. So I still have to get used to that. But hey, we still pulled it out anyway. This is low ladder, so I'm not surprised. But yeah, let's just take a look at another one. Aha, you see? You see, this is Cinderace. So now they're putting Cinderace on Zacian teams. And this is where our Groudon speed is going to come in handy because remember, we EV to outspeed Cinderace after an Airstream. So Zacians here, I do like Incin and Zard in this matchup, but I think I'm just going to bring the Incin. Oh, let me turn that off. Oh, so he has the Raichu and Steela. Oh, I've done this before, but I don't know if my opponent is going for it. He could Volt Switch his Steela and go for the weakness policy play. That would be something, but I anticipate a Fake Out. So he maxed the Steela and he's actually going for the Volt Switch weakness policy play. So here comes Clefairy. Alright, we do get the Vinelash chip off, and that does a lot into Clefairy. And there's the Airstream, and there goes our Venusaur. But it's okay, because we still have a lot in the back to deal with a Dynamax Steela. And we removed the Redirector out of the game. So, and Vinelashes are ticking away. So here comes Raichu. There's our Incineroar. We're just going to swap into Groudon, and I did that just because I anticipated a Rockfall if this is a Dynamax Steela. So Rockfall could come out and will reduce damage, and then we can just go for Chip on with the P2 or potentially Trick Room. I probably should have Trick Room. I don't know why I didn't. I thought the Raichu would Fake Out, but he didn't. He faked out the Groudon, I'm surprised, which was supposed to be my Incineroar slot. So we resist the Rockfall, and we do get the Trick Room up. And we chip the Raichu, and again, more chip from the Vinelash. I'll protect the Groudon one more time, try and deal some damage on the Steela just to get some hacks on it. But again, we protect on the Groudon to stall his last turn of max, and we actually live the Airstream, which is cool because we have Trick Room up, and now we can just go for more damage with our P2. It goes for Volt Tackle for some reason. Alright, but yeah, Vinelashes are ticking away. I'm just going to do more chip with the Porygon, and we do get the Para, which actually helps us because the Para made him slower than us in Trick Room, and he was going to go first, but Groudon with the Rock Slide just comes in clutch. Doesn't kill, but again, the Sand and the Vinelash is what's going to win us this game here, because now 3 drop, and now he just has Zacian, and now we just try attack the Zacian, and then we just go for P-Blades, and we just KO the Zacian. So yeah, I mean, he went for the Volt Switch Dynamax play, and thankfully we were able to outlast it thanks to broken Sand chip from Rockfall and broken G-Max Vinelash. So yeah, let's take a look at one more here. Alright, perfect. This is Calyrex Shadow, and that is the most standard Calyrex Shadow team I've ever seen. He's got Tailwind, he's got Regieleki, he's got Urshifu, Thundurus, and then there's a Clefairy. This is as classic of a Calyrex Shadow team as you'll get. So I'm going to go with Groudon and P2 try and get Trick Room up. He's going with Whimsicott, Calyrex. That's very standard here. And this is another thing you have to remember, because this is a Dynamax meta. I didn't realize that at the time until he did it. The Whimsicotts are going to be running stupid nonsense like Trick Eject Button. And if you're someone that does that, leave your name in the comment below. I have something to say to you. But I thought he was just going to go for, you know, maybe Helping Hand. I know he doesn't need Tailwind because he's already faster, but for some reason he switcherooed my P2, maybe because he didn't want me to set up Trick Room, but then I just Dynamax and go for Quake on the Calyrex, and now you lose the Calyrex. So what good did that do you? So it's either you get rid of my max and I get Trick Room up, or you get rid of my P2 but you lose your restricted. But yeah, at this point he's just going for Airstream on his Thundurus. He has to max the Thundurus at this point. I'm just gonna go for a Rockfall on their Thundurus, and that does pretty good damage, and I can tell he's probably AV with some bulk, just like the way we did ours. And now we'll just get an our P2 again. We'll try the Trick Room again, but he's going for Helping Hand. He's going for Airstream. That's not going to do anything. If anything, you want to do that on the P2. But again, he's Thundurus with AV. He's lacking damage. We're just going to remove the max from the game. And now, you know, P2 and Groudon should be able to just win here because he has a Clefairy in the back for whatever reason. And now, yeah, this is all she wrote. I mean, Groudon is just doing chip damage. I'm just gonna get I'm just gonna go for Recover here, and yeah. But yeah, again, against these Calyrex teams, P2 does so well that either they have to find a way to stop the Trick Room, or they have to do stupid stuff like this and Trick Eject you, but then you can just max and then you're fine, and just kill his restricted. So yeah, those are some easy sample battles. So now let's just look at the pace one more time and get you guys out of here. Okay, so yeah, there's our Thundurus Groudon squad. Again, pretty cool squad, I would have to say, at least to start the format, just to give you guys a solid Sun team. I mean, Gigantamax Venusaur and Charizard is always going to be strong, especially with P2 and Incin. That's already goated. And now you throw in Thundurus that can just discourage, intimidate altogether. And then Groudon, even though it could miss P-Blades, can now Dynamax and go for hard-hitting Max Quakes. I showed you the damage calcs on some of these, especially with I didn't show the Charizard Regieleki, but just take my word for it, it's going to live it. But yeah, I think it's overall a very solid Sun team. I think one adjustment you can do is do what Audie and Colin and those guys did. You can just replace the Thundurus with the Grimmsnarl, and I feel like that's a little bit better. And then you have additional defensive calcs that you can live. But yeah, I will not run weakness policy Venusaur. I am sorry. But yeah, try this out and let me know how it goes. We'll probably make a rental code for the first day, just like the other two. So until then, peace.